Good morning, and I hope you've been well, and this is part 138 of the Pokemon Rejuvenation V13.5 Let's Play, set mode, no items, so yeah. So before we get on with today's episode, I want to list off the remaining side quests that will be done this episode, so yeah. So we have the Submarine side quest with Jolene, Strange House, the Badge Door side quest, and then the 2 dive spots for Heliojack Factory and Tesla Resort. Now, before we get on with the side quest here, I want to say a few things as well. If you don't want to listen, that's fine. You could skip on ahead. There should be a timestamp in the comment section below, so yeah. So, I know it's been a long road, a long few weeks of us just doing side quests. Like I brought up on quite a few of these quest episodes, the next episode we are back on track with the main story. This will be the final side quest episode. So again, next episode, we're back on track with the main story. I'm really excited because I definitely missed the main story, but I'm really happy that we played cleanup and got a lot of this stuff done. I know I should have done this a little bit differently and done some of these side quests many episodes ago, but what's done is done, and I'm really happy that we're at the finish line, and I'm really happy that we gone through and finished a lot of these quests. Now, I also want to get into this episode in particular. This one will have a lot of spoiler rants. I saved these quests in particular mainly because, in my opinion, these have the most lore driven kind of stuff that happens within them. So, not that the other ones that we've done haven't had a lot of lore stuff, but I just feel that these 5 in particular really add a lot to the story, and I do want to do some spoiler rants and get on the, whatchamacallit, the theories and put on the tinfoil hat, etc, etc. So yeah, but I guess with that being said and done, I guess we'll just get started with this one. So we're going to be starting off with the Submarine side quest with Jolene. You will need Dive and Surf if I'm not mistaken, and I think you have to have completed chapter 14 if I'm not mistaken in order to do this one. It's either 14 or 15, the one that you go through the pyramid with, Alita, Ren, and all of them, and save the day, and yada yada yada. So yeah, as long as you've done all of that, I believe you should be good to go for this quest here. Now, I just gotta remember, I believe it's, I'm going the wrong way already, aren't I? Right, we gotta go all the way down. Over here. And to this area over here. Go for Dive over here. And then we'll see the submarine over here. It seems to be a submarine. Well, now isn't this a sight to behold? There's no need to be afraid, little one. I am talking to you through the sub's intercom. Can you see me waving behind the glass? No? Too small? Figures. Anyway, it's rare to see trainers dive here on Route 11. You know, it being so cold and all, but I guess it's even rare to see someone down here in a submarine. Regardless, I have a small proposition for you. You see, I'm from the Gira News HQ. I'm working on a personal project of sorts. By chance, have you seen any weird tower-like structures around this trench? I have. And have you noticed the difference in height? Turns out that is the key to figuring out this whole thing. All of them have a panel installed on them that can be activated. Problem is, well, activating them. I certainly can't do that from my sub, but perhaps you can do it for me. For my research, I've gathered that something may happen if you activate the pillars in order of the tallest to shortest. Could I ask you to do this small favor and activate all the towers in that order? Thanks, hon. I appreciate it. Why are you looking at me like that? I'll make it worth your while, I promise. Sounds like a plan. Alrighty. So, I guess we'll dive on over here. I don't exactly remember like tallest to shortest, but I think I'll remember once I see some of them. Right, there are like these little like dive areas over here as well. Sometimes you'll find like a little like area that gets you to like a secluded part. You'll see what I mean. Like sometimes you can find like items is what I'm trying to say. So okay, so that leads back there. Here's one right here. So then we can grab that one there. And then I think over here is some of the towers. So that's going to be the shortest or second shortest if I'm not mistaken. Okay, that's the shortest, that's the second, third, and then the fourth one I believe is on up here. But real quick. Not a bad TM. We'll take it. The largest should be right... I think it's on around here. Yeah, here we go. So then, let me take a peek. Okay, so there's a dive area we gotta get to then. To get on over there. I see that there. Sorry, it's been a minute since I've done this quest. I feel like I'm doing this wrong. I see that right there. So then, okay, we go up and around, I see. So we use the key there. Now, of course, everyone should have that key. And again, it can only be activated once you, like, do the whole pyramid thing. Sorry, the third one is here. Meaning, like, not the third one, sorry. Largest, second largest. Here's the third largest one. And then the fourth one. There we go. It sounds like a door opened up somewhere in the trench. And I think you could just go on and meet up with Jolene? Or no, you have to go get her, right? Wrong way, sorry. Here we go. What was that rumbling before? You've done it, haven't you? I see, so that door by the northern part of the trench opened up. Oh, that's exactly what I wanted to hear. I'll make my way on over there now. You should come too, you know. Will do. Okay. How's my... Yeah, we can keep Obama. He'll be there for moral support. Okay. Save here. Now, as you can see, by the layout, it looks very similar to a certain pyramid that we know about. Hey, don't run off without me. Ah, you've done it. Thank you so much. You're so sweet. Thank you for helping me out. My name's Jolene. I'm the owner of Gira News, as well as being the lovely and beautiful mother of the ex-electric type leader Volta, and also an honorary member of the Elite Eight. Oh darling, I love that look people give me when I drop that info on them. Look at you, cute as a button. Surprised are ya? Don't you worry yourself about all that, it's not that important right now. I bet you're wondering where we are right now, yes? I was told by a certain someone that the Spring of Preservation was managed through a secret underground base. Such a base was once controlled and operated by the ancient civilization known as the Garufa. Well, they were supposed to be ancient, but this place isn't exactly screaming ancient now, is it? My curiosity was piqued. I couldn't help but investigate further. Looks like my curiosity hasn't been misplaced. Oh, bless your heart. I'm going to go investigate further. Don't lag behind now, you hear? Now again, do keep that in mind, that her research was saying that this whole place here is pretty much supporting the Spring of Preservation. Go back to the Spring of Rejuvenation as well, how this, you know, kind of like layout was over there, so you can at least assume, well again, well you know it because like the Jewel of Life in the water does all that kind of stuff, and I would assume you can say the same about the third one. What was it again? Rejuvenation, Preservation, and I forgot the third one because I'm pretty sure I know Alita goes on that rant during V13's story about how like she bathed in the 3 springs. Pretty much where I'm getting at is I would assume the third one would probably have something similar to this somewhere. Of course, from my knowledge, you can't really find the third one. At least Sorry, Spring of Purification. Purification, Rejuvenation, Preservation. Right, because like that one's back in whatchamacallit? Sheridan Village, right. Not really like a spoiler rant, but again, just keep the mind moving. It's interesting to think about these kind of things. Darling, I have a feeling we're not alone all the way down here. Perhaps not by other humans, no, but something created by humans for sure. Intruder alert, intruder alert. Speak of the devil. My word, that thing looks like a disfigured magneton. Sugar, I know it's rude of me to do this, but would you mind taking care of this here doohickey? I'm mighty curious about your strength, you see. From the moment I laid my eyes on you, I thought, there's something special about this one. I like to see if my hunch is true. They usually are. Now go on, show me what you got. Sounds like a plan. Okay, 88, 89. I guess just Earthquake and... You got this, Obama. Okay. Mr. President, I'm sorry. I tried. I didn't realize I'd just go for the flamethrower on it. What was in before? Bamboo? Oh, okay. I thought it would have gone for maybe anything but that. That's okay. We'll go for Earthquake again. And then... I guess you're fine. That sucked a lot. Well, what's done is done. And I didn't realize I had an air balloon. That's my mistake. There we go. I must say, that show was mighty impressive. Honey, might I ask, are you taking part in the Avium League Challenge? So it seems like you are. How many badges have you collected? You've collected way more than 10 badges. Sugar, that is a mighty fine achievement. And don't let anyone else tell you otherwise. If anyone tries to give you a hard time, you just call Miss Jolene to hear. I'll set them straight. Don't worry about a thing. Bless your heart. I'm sure we'll run into a whole lot more of those so-and-so, so let's move. Right, so... I might actually have to retreat. Because I think there's like 1 or 2 more battles like that. I mean, I do have the remote PC for convenience, but... that's okay. I'll just head back. I don't know, because like, well, let me at least like finish the quest first before I say any more. It's just interesting is all to me. Okay, let me save here. Spring maintenance. Okay. 2 Claydol. What's your typing again? Don't these guys have Levitate? Yes, so... let's just do that. And... I guess Discharge. That's gonna be a little bit annoying. I guess we'll just kind of go for this combo here. Okay, that special defense drop sucked quite a bit, but that's okay. Okay. We'll just kind of keep going for this then. Well, that was an interesting thing that just happened there. Okay, let's go into Sanders. Muddy Water, Blaze Kick. I know that Reflect on Light Screen is going to be a little bit annoying. Getting some of those misses kind of suck. But hey, that's poke 1 for you. Okay. This should take out the 1. Okay. Air Balloon's gone. Get rid of that. Earthquake. Crunch. Okay. And then I think there's one more. However, I'm gonna go back and heal. I'll just pause here. Alright, I'm back. Sorry for the pause there. Okay, so back to this all then. I'm pretty sure there's one more. Yes. Okay, and this one only has 2. I guess same combo here, Discharge and Muddy Water. Okay, definitely going a little bit better than before. Let's go into you. Muddy Water. Let's go for Crunch on the Golurk. Interesting play. Not a whole lot else I could really do though. Overall, I know I didn't really like show the teams. Like these battles, they're not terribly tricky, but you will need a, you know, solid team to go through these, and don't be afraid to go back and forth with healing and whatnot if need be. Okay. Yep, there it is. Can you see it? All the way back there. That beam of light, it's what gives the spring its power, but it's a little disappointing, ain't it? The mystical and supernatural vibe it gave off was captivating, only to find out its power through some complex system, but now that I know that it's true, that's all I need. So this is really a thing then. Goodness, I don't know how to feel. Oh Jolene, that's what you get for doubting people. Now you look like a big old fool. Alright, that's all I wanted to confirm, so I guess I'll be heading on out. Darling, why are you looking at me like that? Are you confused or something? Don't you worry yourself over all of this. I had no intentions of actually doing anything here, I assure you. Now that I know that this place exists, I feel like I'm obligated to protect it. What if someone just tries to waltz up in here and disrupts that precious beam of light? Now that just wouldn't do, would it? No, if that beam of light is interrupted, I reckon the place would be all dried up and sorry looking. The Pokemon that lived there would be without a home. Jolene, you need to learn when to stop talking. I'm so sorry, sugar. I can talk and talk for ages, never getting anywhere. Here's a little something for your troubles. That's just a little something I've been holding on to for a while. I like to use electric type, so I wouldn't have any use for something like that. Not that I'm implying you would, but I thought the gesture was nice. Now I'm off, sugar. Sorry, I'm off now, sugar. You should come by Gara News HQ sometime and say hello. Until next time, Jolene signing out. So, before we get on a spoiler rant, I want to give like a fair warning. I know I can go in circles and not gain any traction. This rant that I'm about to give is going to be exactly that, because at the end of the day, there's just in my mind not enough known that's like concrete proof. So I know that sounds weird, but I'm just gonna throw mud at a wall and see if it sticks. So yeah, now we're about to get into a spoiler rant. I just wanted to say that real quick there. If you don't want to listen, that's fine. Very heavy spoilers ahead. I'll try not to be super lengthy with this one. I didn't mean to drop the pin there. But you know how I get with some of these, but I'll try not to be super long with this one. Okay, so I go back to, and one final time, heavy spoilers. You've been warned. Varaya, we go to her. The true, I'll call her the true puppet master. The person that started all of this. Well, at least you're told that, and I'm going to go off the assumption she's the one that has started the entire story of Rejuvenation. Now, I've had some comments here and there talking about maybe like the AI supercomputer thing, the obelisk, whatever, maybe like took control of her somewhat, so she has control, but also that's making it do things and the system's doing whatever it wants. Got it. Whatever the case is, I'm not here to do all of that. Let's just keep it plain and simple with what we know. Varaya. Old Earth screwed things up, started a war with Arceus with the other nations agreeing, killed Arceus, Pokemon dying, resources dwindling, 7 billion something casualties, whatever it was, and things were going from bad to worse. They thought they did a good thing because they wanted to do more research on like souls and Pokemon and all sorts of yada yada yada, but it backfired because they got rid of the creator and the sustainer of life. However, they got the archetype. The Garufans, were like, hey, who wants to be a volunteer? We need 18 of them. And I go back to what I said before. I always believe that the 18 represent the 18 different legendary Pokemon. Groudon, Kyogre, Rayquaza. Because there's got to be something. Because, you have the archetype. So I assume if you tap into that, you're able to do stuff like that. And it is said, that each one during the third layer was like a volunteer. So they got a little bit of the power, somebody else did, yada yada yada. One for the ground, Groudon, sorry. One for the water, the sea, Kyogre. The sky, Rayquaza. Go to, Zekrom, there needs to be something for truth. Or, I'm mixing up my things. Zekrom for ideals, Reshiram for truth. Zygarde, Yveltal, death. Xerneas, life. You need these Pokemon to sustain life in some way, shape, and form. Since Arceus is gone, there needs to be legendary Pokemon. There needs to be hosts that are willing to take that power and hold the power and not dwindle and like die out, because that some failed. It was too much and they just got sick and ill, and then they just succumbed to their, to that, archetype and whatnot. So that many failed, but some were able to succeed. So, yeah. Now, with that being said, though, laying out the groundwork there, I believe that this is one of the things that they had to have created with the machine, the core itself, the obelisk, whatever you want to call or word it. that with their technology, the legendary Pokemon are doing its thing, right? But there needs to be something else, and I believe that potentially with like the archetype and a few other stuff with their technology and whatnot, they have to create the system that can sustain life itself. Because again, Varia was like, oh, we're doing this, we have to save people, yada yada. But in some way, shape, and form, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, it's irrelevant. Let's not get into the good or bad. What's done is done. You know that Varia had ulterior motives. She did not tell the crew and Adoras the full story of what she wanted. She created Rejuvenation, and here we are now. So I believe to some level, with her doing, she and the crew have created, this machine, whatever you want to call or word it, that sustains life, within different parts of the region. The core, the AI, the Bleask, whatever you want to call it, is doing that. Look at the different pillars around the desert. Look at the different pillars around, Dark Wood Forest. You see different things here and there, and I believe that all of it comes to the core, right? Or the Obelisk. I don't know if the Obelisk is the core itself. I don't think it is, but let's just assume that it's connected to the core in some way, shape, and form. So, yeah. Or, well, the core thing... Yeah, because, like, the Interceptor is connected to the core, but if the Interceptor gets, damaged too much, it affects the core. So, yeah. I know I'm mixing it up, and somebody can correct me on that, but... Yeah, overall, I guess where I'm getting at is it's an interesting thing what Varia and the Garufans have created. That not only with, trying out the host with a legendary Pokemon to sustain life, but also all of this machinery underground. And again, it's not like Varia has 100% full control. She may be close to it, but it's not quite there. Remember, at the very end, they had to get it done. They were going to get ambushed by another nation. They stormed on in. The whole Rejuvenation thing that Varia truly wanted, it's here and now, but I don't think it's fully what she wanted. Because again, if you look through the game, there's cracks within the seams. Look at, when Malia had that bro moment during the whole Angie thing. Her entire character just broke. Which again, you go back to the Renegade route, which is an interesting thing, where you see the eye kind of thing hover above Alita, and that goes back to the whole predetermined timeline. Each person, Ren, Alita, Malia, we can even say Madam X potentially, almost every individual within this game, besides the Interceptor of course, is within Fate. They don't stand outside of Fate Passage like we do. So technically they're still bounded in my eyes by the system itself. Because again, go back to the Renegade route with Alita, sorry. You know that soon she's going to come after us. Go back to Talon for an example, where he had that bro moment, he turned into a bird and whatnot, crying, and the system got to him. The system was like, okay, the Interceptor is doing some wacky stuff, I don't like it, Talon, take care of it. Oh crap, Talon died. Ah, whatever, Alita, you're next. And the system, it's going to throw what it can at it, because we're trying to go against it. So, it's a really interesting thing, and I know I could have worded this better, and I know that I am probably mixing up things, but it is just a unique thing what the Garufans have done, what Varia has done, Adoras, and all the other, hosts and volunteers have done to not only create, the legendary Pokemon, but also all of this machinery. Again, look at here. Look at, the desert. Look at Dark Wood Forest. Go back to Terrajuma. That one shed with all that machinery and whatnot. I have a feeling a lot of that kind of stuff has something to do with sustaining, that entire area there. It's just something that's really interesting to think about. That again, if you look closely, there are cracks within the seams. It's not fully done. You can find these kind of areas. Now, maybe it is on purpose by Varia. Maybe it is. But if I had to guess, I would assume because of it being rushed, because of the one nation or whatever, like storming in, about to like get them, because I think that's within an older story by Adrest. I believe it was either now or never, and they had to do what they had to do. And I think that's why there's cracks within the seams of this game. Now, I could be wrong though. Maybe even if nothing happened and Varaya got it 100% her way, no ambush, no nothing, she got all the time in the world that she needed, maybe she wanted cracks in the seams. Maybe she wanted some things to be shown. Or maybe not. This is not what she intended, but she's content either way, because right now she's in a position that she can't really lose. Do I think she's like immortal or invincible? No. I think there probably is a way to stop her. What that's going to be, I don't know. We would have to see what Jane would have to come up with, and there may never be a thing to stop her. I don't know the direction that they're going to go within this game, but I've always said it before that I don't believe Madam X is the main bad individual within the game, the bad group. I believe that there is something much more darker and sinister, whether it may be Varaya, Indred, something else entirely. I don't know. I really don't know. And again, I'm not saying Varaya is a bad person. I'm just saying that she could be good, she could be bad, but I do believe that she will be a problem that we will have to go up against regardless of our opinions. So yeah, and that whole thing, I won't go on a rant about that, but I'm not gonna say she's good or bad. I don't know how to feel about her. I don't know. I have mixed feelings on her. Now back to the Indred thing, you know, Indred could be the main thing. It could be Madam X. I could just be being stupid, you know. But I do believe that there is something much, much more within this game than Team Zen itself. I really do. I think Team Zen is extremely important within the role of the story. Not saying that it isn't, but I'm saying that there has to be something more than just that. It can't only be that, because you still have the unknowns, again, with Varaya, Indred, and who knows what else lies within the dark. So, yeah. I think we'll leave it at that. There's not a whole lot else I can really say, besides it's just a really interesting thing how the Garufans were able to create all of this, and I'm really, really excited for V14. Because again, I feel like that's going to be a chapter that unravels a lot of stuff. I don't know if it'll unravel the identity of Madam X per se, because that's definitely a big one, but I think a lot of things about like the Garufans and the goal and all that kind of stuff, I feel like we're going to get a lot more from that chapter, and I'm definitely excited to see where that goes. But I think with that being said and done, that'll be it for the spoilers on this side quest, so yeah. Alright, we are out of spoiler territory. Let's get on out of here. Next up, I think we will be getting into... Let's do Strange House next. That one's a really simple one. Not too difficult. Oh, well. Goodbye, Jolene. Excuse me there. Okay, so let's head on over to Sashela Village, and it's pretty much the house by the coastline that's down here. Now, there are a few items that you will need, by the way. I think it's like a light clay and something else, perhaps? I'm not really sure. Alon turned the key. The key snapped in half. Perhaps someone can fix it. Oh right, I should say this. You get the key from Sashela Village. It's, I think it's the guy... Yes, I believe it's this individual right here. I thought you were at the pyramid. I know, I'm just messing around with that. Okay, it's not really that important, just being goofy about that. Anyways, you go to him, you get the key, then you go there, and then it snaps. So now you want to go on to Akiwa Town, And I believe it's like 2 light clay and something else. Hey, you can have this. Oh, thank you for that. Hi, the name's Larry. I'm the local locksmith. You did a lot for us back at Black Steeple Castle. If you ever need my services, I'd be glad to help. Huh, that key you have there. It looks like a broken half, yes? I can repair it, but I'll need some materials for it. I'll need 2 handfuls of light clay and 1 hard stone. That way I can make a key that will never break. So pretty much any like mineral rock will have either a hard stone or the light clay, which maybe one you might get lucky that'll have both, but yeah, you will have to do some mining on that. Or if I'm not mistaken, if you have the oh goodness, I don't know the certain amount of department store stamps that you need, but I think at the mall, if you have the right amount, you can actually buy light clay and a hard stone. So those are the 2 ways that I know how to do that. Fixing the key was way easy. Here, take it. Thank you for everything. So now that we have that done, we can head on over to the village again and get this all situated. Now, if you've never seen this before, it's actually really neat. If I can, there we go. Alon turned the key, and it didn't break. The door was unlocked. Who's that? Who just walked into my home? Now there's something you don't see every day. And here I thought you were another annoying person from Sashila Village. You're clearly not from the village, and as long as you're not here to hurt me, I'll be upstairs in my room. Sounds like a plan. Now, if you don't recognize the area, it's pretty much where you started the prologue with Marionette, Anitha, and Indred. Now, of course, you can go upstairs. Now, another little cool thing just to point out, if you remember over here, you met up with Crescent, where you died on Valor Mountain, and she did her thing to bring you back. So that was this area as well. And if you remember, back then it was like a lush land. It wasn't a desert. So another kind of cool thing to think about as well. Now, I think I went on a rant, talking about the desert and whatnot, but I won't get into that right now. But as you can see, it re-shows the prologue, how it used to look. By the way, my name's Mira. I'm from Sashila Village, if you couldn't tell. But those fools at the village are not really my type. Nice people and all, but I've always preferred being alone down here. Plus I have Meowsa here to keep me company. You hear that? That's quality conversation right there. Anyway, I usually don't like company, but you're pretty quiet, so I like you. Sometimes people just chat away and never stop. Don't be a stranger. You want to talk? Who are you? My name is Mira, I'm 65 years old, and I'm not getting any younger. I hope that answers your question. Why are you here? I'm here because I want to be nothing less, nothing more. Not everything is so deep, you know, I just like my space. Fair enough. This house. You're wondering if I know anything about this house, right? I don't really know too much about it, except for that it was here before the calamity. Villagers from Sashila Village took all of the valuables, things from inside the home, so there's not much to look at. But hey, it's an empty house, but it's an empty house with a view. Alright. I don't think there's really anything on the books or anything like that. So I guess we'll get on out of her way then. Now, a cool little thing is this. There's a hook placed on the wall. It looks like it's meant to hang something. Hang the family portrait. If you don't know how to get the family portrait, you have to do the one quest. I forgot exactly what it was called, but you started within Grand Dream City, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's in the Judicial District. There's a guy trying to like buy a portrait, and then you go, I think, to the Scholar District, if I'm not mistaken. There's like a museum, art museum kind of area there. You talk to a guy, he's looking to sell, and then you fly back to the one guy. He comes to check out the painting, but it gets stolen. You have to follow him down to the underground, battle him, you get the family portrait, you go back to the museum. The old guy's like, I already have like a reprint of it, you could just keep the original, I don't really care. And then that's pretty much how it ends. I forgot exactly what episode it's on, but it's not really a complicated quest, it's pretty easy to follow. And that's pretty much how you get it. Hang the family portrait. Alon hung the portrait on the wall. It sounds like something opened up. Now, what was all of that now? Why did the whole house shake? I allowed you in my house, but I won't allow you to go around breaking things. I paid nothing for this house, and that's expensive on its own. That's a strange portrait. I hope you don't think you're allowed to literally make yourself at home. That phrase or whatever was just politeness. Anyway, as long as you understand that, then we're clear. Carry on. You got it. And then if you wanted to, you can actually take a look at the photo here. I wish it would like stay and not like pan out. That's okay. I might look at it later or something. And then it wasn't here, but what it does is it opens this on down here. Right, those books are gone now. But as you can see, the altar is still there, but you get this, which is a very nice stone. And that's pretty much it for this little like quest and event here. There's not a lot that I can really get into, honestly. I mean, that's the thing that's like, oh wait, family portrait. So that portrait you hung up caused the shutters on the staircase to open up. That's exciting, I guess. That means I get a whole nother room to explore. I'd imagine since it was closed that raiders didn't get their grubby little hands on whatever's down there. But I suppose that's why you're here, Go ahead, take what you want. I won't stop you. Okay, cool. I guess now then, I'll go on a little like spoiler rant. Again, there's not a ton that I can really get into, but I would like to talk about this because I don't know, like the prologue and all of that. Well, let me just stop there. We're gonna get into spoiler rants here. If you don't want to listen, that's fine. Go to the comment section below. You've been warned. Yeah. Okay. We are in spoiler territory. Probably heavy spoilers ahead. If you don't want to listen, one final warning, go to the comment section below. Yeah. Okay. So it's really tricky to get into one about this one because I don't even know where to begin. I guess we'll start with how it came to be. We go to the Calamity, right? I would assume the battle with Nimra and Vitus happen, and this beautiful, luscious land is now just desert because Yveltal, death. I think you get the picture. So I think that's why this came to be, of course. Now, getting into Marionette and the whole Indrid situation, that is a situation that still confuses me to this day, and I've tried connecting the dots. I feel like I'm on the right track, but I feel like there are things that I'm wrong about. So, like I mentioned before, the prologue and chapter 3 probably are like my top 2 favorite chapters within the entire game. I feel like they they just add so much. Not that the other ones don't, but it's really the only few times that you really get to know Marionette and Indrid. And then after that, it just kind of fades away a little bit. There are some resurfaces here and there about, Vitus, Indrid, Tomato, and whatnot, and Marionette, but those two, I feel like, give the most to them. And I don't want to forget about them. I believe they are extremely important characters, despite not them having a lot of, shine within the game. So, yeah. So, going to the prologue, I've always believed that, let's say, go to, the Zora and the Pangora story. Zora illusions, right? Let's say this entire place was an illusion. Indra did something of the sort, recreating this happy family, but in reality, it's not happy. Anatha died. You see that within the past. You know that the events that, the Rift, not Rift Gardevoir, but, well, I guess you can call her a Rift, whatever you want to call her, but, what is that again? The Angel of Death Gardevoir? It doesn't really matter the title. The point is, Gardevoir, did the whole thing. She wasn't happy with Indrid because of Anatha creating the love potion thing, turned him into a simp, loved the family now instead of doing cult leader stuff. And Gardevoir was like, right, what are you doing? And got all mad about it. And staged this whole thing, the kill off Anatha with the police officers and the Tangrowth. That all went down. Indrid, the spell that turned into a simp, faded away. He sacrificed her, went back to what he loved doing, which is being a cult leader and sacrificing stuff for Arceus, yada yada yada, and so on. Now you know that Marionette is still with him. Arena, whatchamacallit, Alan, Alice are, sorry for hitting that there, they're in the unknown dimension. He took them away because, again, Arena, her archetype powers resurfaced. They went into battle. She lost to Indrid, but Indrid was like, okay, you're too scary. I'm not having this backfire. My whole Denisouls thing, my whole cult thing, yada yada yada, whatever he's got up his sleeve and what he's planning, I will not let that be ruined by you. Alice, you have fun. I'm throwing you all in there. You can do whatever you want. I don't care. Just keep them in there. And let me do my thing. By the way, I love you. Bye. So he sends them away. She does her thing within the unknown dimension. You still have Marionette, though, with Indrid. And I believe in some way, shape, and form that for whatever reason, Indrid enjoys playing around with Marionette. I don't know why her specifically. I don't know. But for some reason, she is a main, thing within the story. So, going into chapter 3, you see a lot of that. That he plays around with her, going through different trials, the whole maid thing, and the puzzles, and, being mean, being rude, just not being a good father. But through all of that, she persevered with us. We make it to the end. We win the battle. And of course, Indrid being Indrid is like, congratulations, you won, but what about the other souls? And again, he'll say one thing, but it could mean another. He never plays fair. You know that. In his mind, he's like, I don't care. It's fair in my eyes, so boo-hoo. If you want to do something about it, beat me. Oh wait, you can't. So he just does whatever he wants, because he knows at that given point, there's not many things that can actually really, beat him. So you go through all of that. Marionette, the archetype within her, it resurges. She gets mad at Indrid. They go into battle. And that, in my mind, see, and that's a tricky thing. The battle there. What happened afterwards? Because we go back to our world, the trees are gone, but those two are still doing their thing. In my mind, if I had to guess, Marionette lost. I don't think she won. I think potentially she might have, and it's a big might have, But that's the tricky thing, because like it's also connecting the prologue to that. So because like the prologue, it had to have happened before. Because even with the illusion thing, go back to the prologue for an example. Let me stop at the chapter 3 thing. Go into the prologue. I've always stated it before that I believe that, again, the prologue, all of this, it's a giant illusion. It's not real. What Indrid is doing, I think he's just tormenting her. The whole sacrifice happened. She realized what's going on. She's under the chambers. And I believe at that point, that's when we're storming in. We're battling the Gardevoir. Nimra pulls up and is about to fight, you know, Indrid and yada yada yada. So, yeah. I believe she's down there. She goes to the altar. She's like, I hate you, Dad. I hate you. Like, I don't want to be sacrificed. They bring her to the altar, but then you hear that little, like, slash. I go back to what I said before as well. It's either Madame X or Nimra. I'm gonna say both, but first, Nimra. I think Nimra and him went into battle. Then, after a while going back and forth, I think potentially with the Time Diamond or something of the sort, Madame X is like, oh hey, you did something, you interrupted the ritual that was going on. Two girls are now there, Maria and Melia. Well, or Marionette Melia, tomato, whatever. Madame X is like, I want Melia. I don't really care about Marionette right now. She's mine. Dips. And that is why I think there's that split between the two. Marionette in my mind is still somewhere. I don't know where she is. She could be Madame X. She could not be. I don't know. But that's irrelevant. I think the actual Marionette is still somewhere. Go back to Where Love Lies. You know, you see her, the illusion, whole thing with Kada, seeing her encased in the crystal, and then Clear doing her thing. Marionette is somewhere. I don't know where, but I think she's still somewhere. And I do believe that the two girls split, Melia and Marionette. I believe once upon a time they were one. Go back to, you know, all the lights, green, 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 and red. Arena's fine. Alan's fine. Alice is fine. Melia is not. Why? Because the second half of her is gone. That's my mind. Now, go into the whole thing with Melia. She's like, I know I'm not Marionette. I'm not. I'm my own person, and yada yada yada. To some extent, yeah, she is her own person. You're right. I believe with the ritual being interrupted, the two girls split. So technically, yeah, you are your own person. But technically, you're meant to be one person. Now, I know I'm going off of this idea with the whole, like, split thing. I'm gonna be honest, I could be totally wrong. It's just a guess that I have, because in some way, shape, and form, something happened on that altar. I don't know what happened. I don't believe that Marionette transformed fully into Melia. I don't think that. I really do think that potentially the two girls split. For some odd reason. I could be wrong. But I think something like that happened. And if I'm wrong, and Marionette, you know, got sacrificed, and then because of the interruption and whatnot, out came Melia, and there is no more Marionette, and Madame X just took Melia, and that's that. And because of the sacrifice, that's why she has, like, the red mark and the Genesis syndrome. Then, yeah, that could be a case too. But I don't know. I still think to some level Marionette is still out there. I don't know why. I just do. I could be wrong, though. But yeah, but going back to chapter 3, though, that's the thing that's confusing. It's connecting that whole event with the prologue, but then what happens afterwards. Because when you go to the prologue, she's still a little kid. But somehow, she's older within chapter 3. And that's what makes me believe that there had to be some sort of split there. In some way, shape, and form. There has to be. I don't know. I don't know. Because, like, again, the battle happened. You don't know what happened afterwards between Marionette and Indrid. It could be a thing that, you know, with Indrid, you know, battling Arena, battling who knows what, battling Nimra, and then Marionette. Maybe it was, the straw that broke the camel's back and forced him to go back to Yveltal. And then, of course, Yveltal being like, I know the masked woman. I recognize her. Maybe she was. Let's say, like, it is like a thing. Like, she was the one that came on in and took Malia, and the split thing idea that I have is true. Maybe that's why he sticks around. But again, you go back to, Madam X, Father, I have lost. Probably just sticks around because it's like, oh, I get it now. Yada yada yada. You're maybe Malia, Arena, Marionette from a different time potentially. So I'm just gonna fly around you because why not? I don't know. I don't know. I feel like I said a whole lot, but gained no traction. There's just so many loose ends. I feel like, again, to some level, I'm on the right track. I really think I am. But there are still so many loose ends and things that I'm not getting right. Something's not clicking. And the thing that, like, makes me excited but also frustrates me is I feel like it's right in front of me. Like, it's right there. But I'm not grabbing it. I'm not seeing it. I don't know. I don't know. But I think we'll leave that at that because I can go on and on about this. So that'll be the end of this spoiler rant for this one here. Okay, we are out of spoiler territory. Next up is the Badge Doors quest. This one can only be done if you have 9 gym badges, and you will need the HM strength. So you will have to get pretty. Oh wait, you need strength and then of course fly to get on back here. So it's going to be a long while before you can even do this one. So that's why I've always recommended that you do this one during whatchamacallit, like at the end of like the pyramid arc, honestly, because then you could do it all in one go without any sort of like issues and whatnot. Now, if I'm not mistaken, right, we have to go in order. At least I think so. It's been a minute since I've done this quest, honestly. Let me put you back here. Bring you back. Alright, let me save here, and then we'll get on with this one. Alright, I'm back. Sorry for the pause there. Had to go do some things, but we are here and now to start and complete the Badge Doors quest. But before I get into this quest here, I want to go over the requirements in order to fully start and fully complete the quest. If you are somebody that doesn't really care to listen to that, that's totally fine. Go to the comment section below. I should have a timestamp there. If I forget to do so, maybe skip ahead like a minute or two. It shouldn't be too long, but as I always like to do with some of these quest episodes, I like to give advice because I know for new and repeat players, it can be a juggling act with all of these quests and where to go and how to do it and yada yada yada. So as always, I just like to give advice to help out players that, again, may be new, or maybe you are a repeat player and you're a little bit, confused and don't really remember how to go about these quests. So we'll get into that now. So the first requirement is the easy one. You must have beaten the first 9 gym leaders from 1 all the way up to 9. You might have seen some of the doors around the Goldenwood forest area. Each one will have a number, and you might have actually stepped on some of the panels activating them, which is totally fine. The reason that I don't really do that yet is because doing them in order from 1 to 9 actually tells a story. So yeah, if you have already done some of it, that's totally fine. It's okay. I don't believe it really messes up anything besides the order of the story that it tells. Now, some of the chests that we will be seeing will have items, some of them will not have items. If it does not have an item, it's a-okay, that's how it's meant to be. It's not like one of those things that if you come here late game, some of them have already been looted. It's not like that at all. It's always like that, so don't worry. Some of the chests that we will find will have nothing in it. That's totally normal from what I know. And if I'm wrong, then somebody can correct me, but I'm pretty sure it's meant to be that way. Now, the second requirement in order to fully complete the quest, you must have gotten strength from Alexandra and fly from Soda to fully complete this one. So again, you might have stumbled across some of them, but in order to fully complete it, you will have to have fly and strength in order to, again, fully complete it. Oh right, and you will need rock climb and surf as well, so do keep that in mind as well. I think with that being said and done, I think that's pretty much it. So yeah, I always again recommend doing this late game, not early game. Of course, if you accidentally stumbled upon some of them and have already activated some of the doors, it's fine. It's not that big of a deal. I don't think you have to do it in order, but I always recommend that you do it in order. Now on to the doors here. Now, it's been a long time since I've done this quest, so please bear with me on remembering all the locations of the doors. I think I have a good idea, but again, it's been years since I've probably done this. So I believe the first two... What's over here? Right, that's the last one. We don't want to do that one yet. The door over here, if I'm not mistaken, that's number 5. Is it 5 or 4? I don't really want to step on it. I think it's 4 or 5, one or the others. But anyways, 1 and 2 should be down here, if I'm not mistaken. I think number 1 is in the far corner, right. 1 badge has been detected, opening door momentarily. For a moment. Open the chest. Fallen and deserted, I relay the messages of our suffering to you. What is a queen to her subjects, a king to his soldiers? For Griselda, our queen, we meant the universe. During times of hardships and war, she fought for our safety above all else. But inside a betrayal, that notion was short-lived. All began with war, and as such, ended the same way. Griselda, oh beloved Griselda, what would we do? What would we do without you? What would we have to do without you? Please take one of Griselda's most cherished items as a thanks. Dusk Stone. So that's number 1. Number 2 is... It's either on that side or somewhere over here. So we can go... Let's see if it's over here. No, I think it's on the other side. Oh, I guess I never got that. My bad. Okay, so that's blocked off. Maybe it was over here. No, it is on the other side. And again, apologies, it... Oh, wait, no. Sorry, this is number 2. Okay. 2 badges have been detected. Open door momentarily. Apologies for the confusion there. But we found it. Open the chest. Fallen and deserted, I relay the messages of our suffering to you. What is peace to the common mind? What is your peace? Our peace was love and tranquility with each other, to be kind to others and to ourselves, This is what we live by, a sacred tradition that was broken by ourselves. On the brink of desperation, one's mind changes, it molds, it warps. Such a distorted figure represented the sins of our entire people. Please take one of Griselda's most cherished items as a thanks. So we have a Dawn Stone there. Now, number 3. If I'm not mistaken, we can pretty much leave this area. So let me find the ladder. If I can... There we go. Should be a ladder here. Now, if I'm not mistaken... I know there's one... Actually, no, this is 4, isn't it? Yeah, that's number 4. So that means... Right, that other one down there is 5. So 3 would be... Must be ruins, if I'm not mistaken. I just gotta remember the exact spot, because there are multiple within here. I think some of the more higher numbers are on in there. So this is where we need rock climb. There's gonna be 2 rooms. I believe it's this room here that has number 3. So we have these 2 here. Oh my gosh, so we came down here because we heard it was like totally haunted. Me, I'm not afraid of ghosts, but the same cannot be said for my friend here. Ghosts are scary. I don't want to be here anymore. Ghosts are scary, it's true, but that's why we're here, right? We're here to venture off into the unknown and find some scary things. Speaking of which, what's that white hand on your shoulder? What? What are you talking about? Huh, I was so sure I saw something. It's probably just my imagination. I want to go home right now, So it's just 2 people just kind of playing around with it. Okay, so... I don't think this is 3, is it? No, that's 6. Okay, so there's a few items. Rare candy. Not a bad TM right there. I guess we could battle him real quick. Get this guy on out of the way. Because I got a feeling I'll accidentally run into him anyways. Okay. Let me surf here. And... yes, here's number 3. 3 badges have been detected. Opening door momentarily. And I think this might be one of the ones where it's opened. Yes. It looks like the chest has already been opened, but it looks like there's still something inside. Take a look inside the chest. So yeah. And again, like I brought up at the beginning, it's fine, it's normal. Some of the chests are going to be like that. Okay, so... number 4 should be... I guess to keep it simple. Oh, it just takes me back here. Oh wait, I'm dumb. Here we go. My bad, I didn't mean to go all the way back to Wispy Ruins like that. Okay, so we're gonna cut the tree there. And this one is number 4. 4 badges have been detected. Opening door momentarily. Open the chest. Fallen and deserted, I relay the messages of our suffering to you. What is important to you? What was important to us? To Griselda. To Griselda, it was the royal family. Her family. She was born first of 3 children to the queen and king of the East Kingdom. Her younger sister became queen of the Kingdom of Time. and her youngest sister became the queen of the kingdom of space. Together they governed the universe and kept it in place. All was well between them, and life was in total order. Things weren't always perfect, though. Please take one of Griselda's most cherished items as a thanks. Now, keep that in mind. Time, space. What two individuals that we know control time and space? I won't go in like a spoiler rant, but I kind of want to like point that out, as some didn't really pick up on that. It's honestly a really cool like quest here, honestly, because while it's really simple, it definitely gives like lore to the story, and to me it's just really cool. Alright, so number 5 is right here. 5 badges have been detected opening door momentarily. Open the chest. Fallen and deserted, I relay the messages of our suffering to you. Upon those who dare to tread upon Griselda's kingdom, death was the only outcome. When soldiers from afar step foot, the ultimate crime has already been committed. Prepared to tear down what she worked so hard to build, Griselda held nothing back. At the ready, Griselda dispatched her strongest troops. Victory was already hers. Please take one of Griselda's most cherished items as thanks. Cursed candle. And then with that cursed candle, that's pretty much how we can get ourselves a lit wick. But we'll do that later. So that's number 5. Right, number 6 was all the way here. And then the remaining ones should all be in this area besides number 9. So I think we actually stumbled upon 6 down here if I'm not mistaken. I think it was right over here. Let me be careful. Right, okay. I just wanted to make sure it was number 6. 6 badges have been detected, opening door momentarily. It looks like someone else already claimed the treasure. Something seems to be rumbling inside of the chest. Take a look. So I guess we can get a Scraggy right here. Not a terrible Pokemon, honestly. I don't know if I'd ever use the Scrafty, but it's not terrible. So that's number 6. Now number 7 and 8 is going to be all the way in this room on over here. So let me see here. Excuse me there. Okay, Pokeball there. I just gotta remember. Okay, that's number 8, so number 7 should be on below. Right. And I gotta look around. Normally there's like a girl that like hangs around here. 7 badges have been detected, opening door momentarily. Open the chest. Fallen and deserted, I relay the messages of our suffering to you. Though her kingdom revered Griselda, they did not find her to be perfect. Among all the respect, love, and support, fear stood strong above all else. After the war had ended, Griselda's fury did not subside. She had decided that if the entire universe were under her rule, a future war would not be possible. Griselda readied her troops and sent them out to invade other lands. Most of her people did not approve of her actions, but had no power to make a difference. Please take one of Griselda's most cherished items as a thanks. Data drive. Odd Keystone. Also, I don't know why I keep saying as a thanks, because it just says as thanks, but that's okay. That's okay. Also, I kind of want to... I thought normally there'd be like this like ghost girl that hangs around here. Maybe it's after doing the doors? Wait, what? Was that it? I guess I missed it. 8 badges have been detected opening door momentarily. If I missed it, then that's okay. Now, I think that ghost, I don't know really who that could be, honestly. I mean, it literally could just be like any person, but yeah, I don't know. Open the chest. Fallen and deserted, I relay the messages of our suffering to you. Griselda's moved and the war was seceding. More and more the kingdom became under her rule with ease. To celebrate, a gathering was formed. Her family and all of her loyal subjects formed before her. Griselda's daughter brought up a silver chalice, a gift from Griselda's 2 sisters, obtained with the finest jewels and stones found from around the world. Griselda accepted the chalice and began to drink from it, and with one final sip, the chalice fell. Please take one of Griselda's most cherished items as thanks. Elemental Seed. Oh, there it is. Or I should say she. Well, goodbye. And then number 9 will be all the way back within Goldenwood Town. Golden Leaf Town, sorry. And then this is pretty much how you'll get yourself a Ghastly. Okay, so if I remember correctly, you see that panel on up here? I'll use my little cursor here. That will open up once we get the boulder on the pressure plate right there. So we'll have to be a little bit careful with this puzzle, because you definitely can get it stuck very easily. I just gotta remember how to do this. And I think I almost... yeah, I think I almost did it wrong there. I think we wanna push it like this, and then up like that. And there we go. So that opened up that there. I was gonna see if that rock might have something on it. I think there's like a Pokeball in one of these areas. Maybe I'm mistaken. No, just some Phantom. Okay. I don't know why I thought there was like a Pokeball over here. 9 badges have been detected opening door momentarily. And this is the final one, just so you know. Open the chest. Fallen and deserted, I relay the messages of our suffering to you. The chalice fell, the chalice fell, the chalice fell, the chalice fell. And so did Griselda. She grabbed her throat in desperation. She tried to cling on to her life. Griselda looked up in utter despair and saw her 2 sisters and her own daughter. You've gone too far, Mother. We did what needed to be done. With a teary eyes and nothing but despair, Griselda perished. The war had ended. Griselda was dead. That's what they thought anyway. Griselda, the queen everyone thought to have perished, rose again, her body warped in shapes too disturbing for any eye to witness. The gold tiara she wore became her new face. Her rib cage became claws. Her spine became wings. Griselda's rampage had only just begun. With her newfound powers, she tore through the one thing she thought she could trust, her people. In a complete fit of rage, she dragged her kingdom underground, and as for her beloved daughter, the one who conspired with Griselda's own sisters to murder her, she tore out her soul and locked it away. Her sisters, in an act of desperation, sealed Griselda away in a world of distortion, and as the world became more and more distorted, so did Griselda. The world was finally at peace once again, but in turn, Griselda's era had become obscure, esoteric, and legend. Please take one of Griselda's most cherished items as a thanks. Yes, the one thing that she held above all else, the one who in the end betrayed her own mother, the one trapped down here in these filthy ruins for centuries. Me. So, it's kind of like a cool little quest because I guess pretty much the Ghastly here, you know, it being a female, was the cherished daughter, and the soul pretty much now became a Ghastly. Really cool little event overall, honestly. So we'll go on ahead and capture you. And that's pretty much it for that. But there is one hidden thing. Once you got all 9 badge doors completed. So we're gonna get on out of here. And I'll show you what I mean. Sorry for like the long silence. There's just like a lot on my mind. Okay, so now we want to go on over here. A door opened up somewhere. I believe it's in this room. Right, so if you remember correctly, this used to be locked. Only when my truth is fully uncovered will the final shackle be destroyed. So, yeah, if you've gone through all 9 badge doors, this area pretty much opens up. And then you also get Will-O-Wisp, which is a very solid TM. Open the chest. The final meeting between my sisters and I, the end of a legacy, the end of a family, all within one moment. I shall allow you to see what I saw. You shall share my burden. So perfect, so incomprehensible, so beautiful. My beautiful crest, oh how I adore your power. I hope you are aware of what you've done, Griselda. What have I done? Spacia. Please enlighten me. You went against the Alliance, everything we've worked so hard to attain. Who gave you the right to attack the Kasira Kingdom? Oh, but you don't understand. That the only reason we joined that alliance was for protection, but now there's no need for such formalities. Because of King Izzo, I've got my hands on Crest. Their power makes my army absolutely unstoppable. But why? We've already taken care of the one who threatened all of us. There's no reason to fight. You know why they fought, correct? They wanted the archetype's power. And now that they are gone, who's going to be next? Greed lives in the hearts of all humans. It consumes each and every one of us. Kasumi ruled her kingdom as if she did not want to fight, but deep down she held lust for the archetype power too. If true peace is to be obtained, then it must be through me. We have. What do you mean, we? Have you both not become rulers of your own kingdoms far from here? Spacia, queen of the. Excuse me there. Spacia, queen of the kingdom of space. Tempa, queen of the kingdom of time. Two kingdoms that have no part in this war. You have no say in this matter. Though it may be true, we still reign from Gravora, however you say that. This is still our home, and we will not allow our home to fall because of your paranoia. Then be gone, traitors, traitors! All who defy the Queen shall meet the same fate. We are not traitors to the crown. We have not defied you. Then what have you done but waste my time? I will not stop until this region is mine. Only then will peace truly exist. I think we've heard enough. Absolutely. Then leave, and don't return until you have a change of heart. She left us no choice. We're going to have to go through with it. She won't listen to reason. It is what has to be done. So yeah, it's honestly something that's really intriguing and interesting, this quest. It's very lore heavy, and it really gives insight more on Griselda, Spacia, Tempa, their daughter, well, Griselda's daughter, the Seven Kingdoms, the Archetype. There's a lot of different pieces that it gives you. So, yeah, it's a really fun and cool quest that I recommend everybody to at least experience if you have not. Now, of course, I do want to get into a spoiler rant as normal because, again, I want this video to go over the quest and give my take and theories and yada yada yada. So, we'll be getting into that now. Oh, wait, right. Disclaimer as well. Timestamp in the comments section below if you don't want to listen for whatever the reason may be. So, yeah. Alright, I'm back. Sorry for the pause there. I decided to stop the video there to get some sleep, and we are back today to continue on with this video. We are still about to get into spoiler territory. If you don't want to listen, that's fine. Timestamp in the comment section below. Heavy spoilers ahead. You've been warned. Now on to the spoiler rant that I want to talk about and give. So, I really feel that this quest here is definitely one of my favorites. I know it's not a lengthy quest by any means, but it really does pack a punch with the story and the lore, and you can add some theories and whatnot to this whole quest here. So going back to the badge doors, it's a really cool thing. I don't know if it was Jane that decided to do it or somebody else within his, circle of developers. Whoever did it, I think it was a really great decision because again, it doesn't say too much, but it gives enough to really tell the story of the different kingdoms and Griselda and her kingdom more specifically. It also goes into Spacia, Tempa, and I guess another daughter that now was the Ghastly that we found within room 9. So, yeah, it's honestly a really unique and very amazing quest overall, and I, again, strongly recommend if you have not experienced this for yourself, you have to. It's really, really cool in my opinion, but of course, it's totally up to you. Now, getting into the badge doors more specifically, it's amazing that it gets into the story of the kingdoms, more specifically, again, Griselda and hers. You learn that things are prosperous, things are good. She's, united with a few other nations, yada, yada, yada. Life is good, but things take a turn for the worse. You see that she grows more hungry for power. In her mind, she feels she needs to rule everything with an iron fist, with fear, and she's determined to the end to make it a reality. Even if she has to break alliances, even if people are against her, she will push and march forward. It's within her mind, her body, her soul that this is what has to be done. She's using this, I don't want to say like an excuse or blanket to like cover it up. More so speaking about, hey, if I rule it all, then no more war, no more issues, I have it all. I think it's a great idea. She's using that as a thing to, make it make it an excuse for her to be like, yeah, this is good. We should do it this way. Because again, if I have it all, no more war, no more conflict. It's all under my rule. Now, of course, the other nations are like, no. Even her daughter, Spacia, Tempa, and the other daughter that I believe I mentioned before, if I didn't, the one that we caught within the badge door room number 9, that was a gaslight. So there were definitely people within her ranks and even, people under her rule that did not agree with it, but she didn't care. What were they going to do? Nothing. They didn't have the power to overtake her, to overrule her. They just didn't. She went after different alliances. She even brought up, like, oh, think about it this way. People want the archetype, even Kasumi. And I think that's a really cool detail. Remember the Gumidra side quest. You learn that Kasumi is a loving and wonderful woman. But even Griselda made the claim that even she herself wanted the archetype, which I think that's a really interesting thing, because even if you're such a good and wonderful person, everyone in one way, shape, and form wanted the archetype's power. Now, whether that was Griselda just lying about it just to say it, we may never know. But I wouldn't doubt it. A lot of nations literally went to war. There was the Great Pokemon War that whatchamacallit, Nimra went into a descriptive story about with all of us, Ren, Rihanna, Hugh, and she told the story from start to finish. So it's not out of question that some of these other people wanted that power. But of course, with her wanting more power to rule everything, that became her undoing, wanting more. She got greedy and it backfired heavily. There came a point where the sisters, Spacia, Tempa, and a few others were like, you know what? This is ridiculous. And even within, the cutscene that we got going in the past, they plead with her, they talk to her, hey, this is ridiculous. Like, you need to stop this. And she's like, you know what? If you don't see my vision, just leave. You have your own kingdoms. Worry about that. I'm doing my thing. Leave. I don't want to talk to you anymore. They tried. They gave it an honest attempt, but it didn't work. So that's when they went through with the whole chalice scene, where with her victory and her doing good, they gave her a drink. They handed her the chalice. She drank from it. And here comes the really cool thing that I've always theorized for a long time, and it was such a cool thing. Even within this version, it even hints at it whenever you get to the point where you, Aaron, Florin, and Flora are under the Dark Wood caves. It's such a cool little detail. And again, I really love how they added that in as well. I've always had the idea that Griselda is Giratina. Now, of course, for many may think, yeah, that was kind of obvious. Maybe so. But to me, many years ago, I thought it was really cool to kind of think about. But anyways, oh, sorry, that's my dog playing with his toy. But anyways, though, you go to the one scene, she drank from the chalice, she fell to the floor, like grabbing onto like her neck or whatever, like gasping for air, and like something's going wrong, something bad is happening. She falls, and they presume that she died, but in fact, she didn't. She reverted back to her original form. You see from the text that her rib cage became to like come on out of her chest or whatever. You see that the crown on her head pretty much like morphed into like her head pretty much. You see that like a part of her back like grew like wings or whatever. What does that describe? Giratina, plain and simply. Now, some may be wondering why, how. We go back to the elephant in the room. Varia. This is her creation, her story. Now, again, whether it's fully her or, the core or the AI supercomputer thing, whatever is like doing this, I don't know. But let's just keep it plain and simple. Varia made Rejuvenation. She created the story. It's interesting that, with Old Earth's story, with the archetype and their mistakes, it's almost as if history is somewhat repeating itself within Rejuvenation here. And it's a really cool thing. Go back to the idea of, Indrid being Yveltal. Look at the cloak. It somewhat matches Yveltal. Go back to Nimra. You can definitely guess that she is most certainly Xerneas. Go to Spacia, Tempa. The one scene within V13.5, they call out the name Her Majesty Variah, and then they go into battle, going into their true forms, Dialga and Palkia. With all of that being said and done, it confirms the idea that the volunteers with the archetype's power, because again, remember, old Earth, there were volunteers that were willing to be a part of Varia's plan to save the planet itself, or to save the region, planet, whatever. I would assume more so the planet, because Arceus created all of that, but regardless, let's just keep it simple. The region itself, old Earth, was dying out because they took out their creator, Arceus, the sustainer of life. So the volunteers happened, they had the archetype, some made it through the test, some did not. The power was too much. Griselda was one of them that was able to make it. So yeah, it's a really cool thing when go into all of those details, honestly. And again, going back to Darklightwood Cave, sorry, go to, the scene where you're able to literally say she's a female. Some may be wondering, if you're a new player, well, how do you know that? That's such a random thing. Legendaries normally don't have genders, and you're right, but this one does. Why? Again, like I said before, Variant, the volunteers, you know? It just makes total sense, and it's such a cool detail and such a cool thing for them to add within the story. All right, I'm back. Sorry for the pause there. I had to go take my dog outside for a walk, but yeah, overall it's something that's really interesting within the story. That again, with this here, the scene within Darklightwood Caves, go back to again the battle with you versus Spacia and Tempa. You go through all of that and you learn the secret. And when you connect the dots, the volunteers within the story of V13, where you play as Malia going through the third layer, you start to connect the dots, you start to see what's really going on. There's still a lot of mystery, there's still a lot of unknowns, right? But at the end of the day, as you play along, you see these kind of things. It's amazing. Giving credit to Jane and all of them that created this amazing story. It's just amazing how, if you really pay attention, you do these quests, you see these kind of things, it starts to connect. It's not fully done, right? But we're getting there. And I think that's a really cool thing, honestly. I know I didn't really go into a theory, more say. It was more of a whatchamacallit, more of just like an explanation kind of thing, more than anything, getting to like some spoiler stuff. But I don't know, like it's just something that's really cool within the story. And it just makes me wonder more about, Indrid, Nimra, and some of the other ones. Because you kind of think about it from a perspective of, let me think here on what I want to say. Griselda has been Giratina probably for a long time. Why was she never able to revert back to normal? Is it because she's just cursed and can't? Go back to Vitus. Go back to Groudon, Kyogre. You see Groudon. You see Kyogre. Now, of course, you don't really know who the volunteers for Groudon and Kyogre were, but something happened. Once upon a time, they had to be, kingdom. Well, they had to be rulers of kingdoms, right? You can at least assume that, and maybe some of them were, because again, there was 18 volunteers, right? So what was it again? 7 kingdoms, something like that. So not all of them could be a ruler. Maybe at one point they were, and they got destroyed, and then new ones came to be, and they just got reverted to their Pokemon form. I don't know, but it's a really cool thing. I also go back to Vitus, you know, in some way, shape, and form, he reverted back to Yveltal. But that may not even be true, honestly, because, there could be an idea that Vitus is. I think like a viewer brought it up, like the idea of like Vitus using it as like a remote kind of thing. Like, Vitus is still around somewhere, but he uses the Yveltal like the sea and whatnot. I don't really know. I don't know. I'll leave it at that because there's a new area that we'll be going soon that I'll probably go more into detail, so let me wait on that for now. But anyways, I think that'll be it for this one here. Alright, we are out of spoiler territory. Now on to the 2 dive spots. We're gonna go to the one at Heliojack Factory and then save, in my opinion, the best for last. Okay, so Heliojack is on over here. You will need dive, and if I'm not mistaken, I think you have to do a quest. I forgot which one it was, but I think by doing the quest, it might be one of the help center requests. Again, I don't remember the specific one, but you get a thing where you can pretty much like turn off the currents within the factory. And if you do that, there's actually a hidden dive spot inside the factory itself, right here. And it leads to a really cool thing. At least I hope it's the same though. They might have changed it. No, they did not change it. It's just about the same. Smart Strike. Great move. Oh, that's a decent Pokemon too. Nice. But as you can see, the elephant in the room, a certain Cocoon is here. It seems to be a model of some sort of Cocoon. Now, of course, if you couldn't tell, that's definitely a Yveltal Cocoon. Probably not the actual Yveltal, of course, but as it says, it's a model. But there's a little journal right here. Now, I don't believe there's really anything else that you can do within the room besides read the journal and check out the Cocoon model there. So I guess we'll go on ahead and read the journal here. It seems to be a book full of notes. It's titled Yveltal's Demise. Read. Yveltal, height 19 feet, weight 447.5 pounds. Type dark flying, ability dark aura. The Yveltal is the key. The Yveltal is how he knows. Yveltal is how he spies. He stalks us. There seems to be another section, one to keep reading. Upon the death of Yveltal, it sucks the life force from every living thing around it and then reverts into a cocoon. I believe that this is his trap. It's a failsafe, a way to get back if all else fails. I have to find a way to destroy Yveltal, while also preventing the impending doom that is a result of its own demise. If I can do that, then I win. It's something that's really interesting. And it's really hard for me to get into this one because like I have like so many like ideas, but at the same time I don't have a lot of ideas. It's really hard to word with this one, honestly. Like I have a lot to say, but I feel like it's not going to be much of a say at all because it's all speculative. Again, as I like to say, it's like throwing mud at a wall and seeing if it sticks. I don't know if it will. I don't know if it's going to be true. I don't know if I'm going to be right. I'm probably going to be wrong for most of it. But it is something that I do want to tackle and talk about. If you don't want to listen, heavy spoilers ahead, that's fine. Go to the comment section below, timestamp there. Yeah. Okay. So, going back to the journal, I want to reread this again. So we understand the height and all of that. The Yveltal is the key. The Yveltal is how he knows. So, I've always wondered why it says the Yveltal is the key. The Yveltal is how he knows. That I understand, but the key part, that I'm intrigued about. Is it a key thing with the core, Varia, stuff like that? Because there's a big push between life and death. Is it something more? Because again, if you remember the radio tower, Wispy Tower, if I'm not mistaken, you learn that underground there was the secret, facility almost that Indrid created. And you learn that he's trying to get to a place called the Den of Souls, where he can pretty much be immortal and do his own thing and whatnot. Is Yveltal a key to get into the Den of Souls? Is he there now, potentially, and the crew just want to... Let's say it's Team Zen, for an example. Madam X, one of the goals is to stop Indrid. He has to go. Is Yveltal potentially that key to get into the Den of Souls, perhaps? Is it just something more simple to get to the core and the AI supercomputer thing that maybe Varai's hanging out in? Is it something else completely? I don't know. I don't know. But the next line, the Yveltal's how he knows. So again, going back to what I was talking about earlier, and I think a viewer brought it up as well. I don't quite remember. It's probably on one of the older episodes. But anyways, the Yveltal's how he knows. So again, it's almost as if it's like a drone to him an extent. But that's the odd thing. How is that even possible? Because like you go to Griselda, you see the story that, again, like her rib cage, bursted out, the crown on her head turned to her face, she grew wings, yada yada yada. She reverted to Giratina, Spacia, Tempa. They reverted to Palkia, Dialga within V13.5 Karma Files when you went up to battle against them. Why would Indrid be any different? Did he find a way? Was his work with the archetype enough that he, I don't know, might be chilling somewhere else? Den of Souls? Maybe, I don't know, some other plane of existence? And again, it's just his flying drone that he uses around? Go back to... You know what? It's an interesting idea? Go back to the essence. Remember with Angie, when like you beat her with Aaron and Cannon, they studied like this weird like sludge like essence thing. Is it a thing that he's somehow split himself into like different parts? Like again, do you see the scene where he and Angie within the Theolia, Church of Theolia, right? You see how the two of them are standing there. Indrid pretty much like walks into her, combining them as one. Is it a thing that like somehow he's found a way to like split himself apart? Like, I'm a part of Angie now, I'm a part of Gira now, I'm a part of the Yveltal now, yada yada yada. Same thing with like Angie, or not Angie, sorry. Same thing with like Alice, for an example, because like Alice started to go like rogue and whatnot as well. So what was it again? Right, Angie kind of came back to Alice, giving her a reminder of the role, and then she kind of went rogue during V13.5. So it's one of those things that it's like, is it a thing that maybe it's like split apart and a part of him is within Yveltal, but a part of it is not? I don't know. It's possible. He's done a lot of, studying. He's not stupid by any means, so maybe that's potentially a thing. That he's, again, just split apart into different people, and a part of him is Yveltal, but then another part of him is somewhere else. But you kind of wonder how that's possible. Again, I go back to, he's smart. Maybe he found a way to do it. Maybe it's plain and simply because of the battles that he's went through with Nimra, with voice crack there, with like Marionette within chapter 3. Did he get weakened enough that he just pretty much like, I don't know, somehow split himself apart into Yveltal, part him to, let's just say like Marionette, for an example. What if he did something like that, and that fits into the idea of why Madame X is who she is? It's because of, the rage and the evil of Indrid is also part of her. Same thing with Angie, same thing with Gira, yada yada yada, it's possible. Now, do I have any proof to back that up? No, I'm spewing nonsense here. But it's just an idea that I have, because I don't know how else to really go about that. I don't know. I don't know. Yveltal is how he spies. He stalks us. So again, that's going into and playing on the idea that, again, like he's using it like a drone, for an example, that he's somewhere else, but uses the Yveltal as a drone. He's watching, Madam X. He's watching Team Zen. He's seen the Interceptor. He's seen Malik. He's seeing these different things and whatnot. Watching, waiting, conspiring, doing all sorts of different things in the background. there seems to be another section. Upon the death of Yveltal, it sucks the life force from every living thing around it and then reverts into a cocoon. So, that's another interesting thing. Well, let me read this first. I believe that this is his trap. It's a fail-safe, a way to get back if all else fails. I have to find a way to destroy Yveltal while also preventing the impending doom. So, go back to Black Steeple Castle. Remember when Neve was talking to Emma about riots? We need... What was it again? I don't care if a riot happens. If it does, cool. If it doesn't, cool. I don't care. If it does, we'll collect the negative energy and yada yada yada. And then Emma questions him. Why? But he can't really give an answer. Go back to the idea and the project. What was it? Project Raptor with the Zen purchase. It's going to annihilate a lot of people. Think of all that negative energy. Black Steeple was just a test. It didn't work out. Now we have Project Raptor in the full swing. It's not happening yet, of course, but it will happen. The negative energy that's going to be collected from that disaster might be a way to... how do I award it? I don't know if it's a way to revert him back to his human form so he can be beaten. I don't know if it's a way that, again, like they use that for him to collect it, and then before he, I don't know, does the one thing, they try to like just blow it up on the spot in some way, shape, and form. I don't know exactly. I know I'm wording this weird, and it's hard to connect how they're going to go about this, but I can't help but feel that the project within Black Steeple, the idea and Project Raptor, with the Zen purges, with that negative energy, it has to have something to do with the Yveltal here. It has to. I don't know what they're going to do specifically, but I fully, strongly think that that's what's going to happen. In some way, shape, and form. I have to find a way to destroy Yveltal while also preventing the impending doom that is a result of its own demise. If I can do that, then I win. Because again, Indrid is a big hurdle for Madame X, right? But she knows if I get rid of this, it's gone. I win. Nothing can stop me anymore. I've gotten rid of this evil disaster, being Indrid, Vitus, whatever you want to call her, Wardum. He's gone. I go back to what I said before, that while she is up against us, I believe strongly that she has to be against Indrid, Vitus. I don't know if she's aware of Araya's presence within the story. That I don't know. But if she is, I would assume she wants to go after her too. But let's just keep it very simple with Indrid here. I do believe in one way, shape, and form she wants to stop Indrid as well. It's just really hard to think about on that one line though. Yveltal's how he spies. He stalks us. There seems to be another section. Upon the death of Yveltal, it sucks the life force from every living thing around it and then reverts into a cocoon. Because again, it's a failsafe. They don't want him to revert back to a cocoon. But they're trying to do it in a sense that it doesn't destroy everything. But they can also beat it without it reverting to a cocoon and, you know, being safe again. And that goes back to the idea of Project Raptor. But again though, I don't know if it's a thing that it's like, look, I don't want the entire region dying. Something's gotta die though, in order to make this happen. Because again, actually, yeah, let's play with this. Madame X has said it before. The what are the millions? The millions is the answer, Malia. You're being stupid. Like, I get it. You love Venom, yada, yada, yada. But think about the millions. Right? I know she didn't exactly word it like that, but again, I would just say what she couldn't say. The millions matter. Period. So in her mind, it could be a thing that it's like, we'll just do it within the city. Sorry, city, civilians, suck to suck. It could have been anyone. It decided to be you. We're keeping it all in a dome, right? See, and that's a cool thing. The dome, yeah. Like, it honestly kind of like fits in a sense. And maybe I'm wrong, but like it's all secluded within the dome. If they do everything there within there, then the rest of the region, they're banking on it's gonna be fine. It's not that he's gonna, wipe out everything. Because like, look at the desert. You've seen, what happened to that desert. All life, the vegetation, the plants, the trees, the people, and all of that were turned to stone. It just died. In a city environment, it's just a city. There is some like plants and life and vegetation, but it's not like, again, Sashila Village. It's not like, Terrajuma. They're secluding it within that dome. So I can see it going at that kind of angle, honestly. I really can. And it's really cool to honestly kind of like think about that now as I talk about this. I could be wrong though. I could totally be wrong. Whatever the situation that they're trying to cause may be, I feel in some way, shape, and form that the negative energy with Project Raptor has something to do with trying to stop Indrid, the Yveltal. What that is specifically and how it's going to go down, I could come up with a million situations. I don't know what it's going to be specifically, but I do believe in some way, shape, and form it has to connect. If it's not that, I'd have to really think about it. It's a fail-safe, a way to get back if all else fails. I have to find a way to destroy Yveltal while also preventing the impending doom that is a result of its own demise. If I could do that, then I win. I think we'll leave the spoiler rant there, honestly. I can go on and on about this one, but yeah, there's just so many things that I don't know. I just don't know. Anyways, final one. Being personally probably my favorite like hidden little quest within the game. Now let me grab... Oops. Sorry, I've been doing a little stuff off screen, getting some shinies and whatnot. Oh wait, I have the one items. I don't really need a water type. That's okay. Now, in order to get this, by the way, you will need the enigmatic key, whatever you want to call or word it. I gotta remember. I think it's over here. I gotta think about this one, because it's been a minute. I don't think they would have changed it. If I can... There we go. At least I hope they didn't change this one. I don't see why they would. Okay, so I think there's a die spot. Now, if I'm not mistaken, there's gonna be like a few towers somewhere. I just gotta remember... where they were. Yeah, okay, that's one of them. Okay, so maybe I didn't go in the right spot then. No, clearly not. Okay. Okay, so let me... I'm not gonna do that. Let me just do this. And I do apologize, it's been a long time since I've done this one. And plus with the layout being different, it is slightly different. I don't remember how many towers there were, I think there was like 1 or 2. There's that there. Okay, so it's not... So maybe it's... Is it this one? I feel like I just went to the same spot. Is it this one? Okay, I'm going crazy. Hold up. I know I saw the tower. I might have to pause, actually. Maybe... here? No, that's a whole different thing, sorry. I don't think... I don't think there was a dice spot in here. I don't think it was this. I really don't. I mean, let me try the puzzle real quick. Okay, so... I got this done. All you gotta do is just put the things on the thing. Whatever you want to call it. Foolish king of the sea, arrogant and ruthless was he, for one lost his brother to the depths of the earth. The anger and sorrow in his soul gave birth. Tyranny and dictatorship followed, kingdom sunken now hollowed, imprisoned the foolish king of the sea. Let me see. No, okay, yeah, that just leads to that. I'm not trying to do that. Actually... No, I think I'm actually in the right spot. I just gotta remember... I don't know if you have to activate those or not, honestly. Isn't there like a way... like here? Right, and it leads you this way. Yes, okay. A door opened nearby. Water memory. My apologies about that. It's been such a long time since I've done this one. So a door opened nearby. Yes, that's fine. Now I think... we're good to go this way. Again, apologies for taking this long in this one. With the new like layout, it's a little bit different than like the other versions. think. I think we're getting somewhere. Okay. Would it be over here? There should be like a tower. Here we go. And again, if you remember the pyramid, the submarine quest with Jolene, and now this room here, it's the same, you know, atmosphere, the same look. You can, whatchamacallit, well, Jolene kind of like said it, you can see that this is kind of, you know, powering the ocean and whatnot. Eridos Crest. Zangoose Crest. And I think that's pretty much it in this room. Now here's also another thing that I kind of like thought about. The Foolish King of the Sea. I always thought that Otis's mother would have been Kyogre, but it says King of the Sea, meaning male. So I wonder what it meant by Otis's mother returning to the sea. She may have been Lugia? I don't know. Anyways, enough of that. This room in here is something that's really interesting. The bookshelves that are more highlighted in green are the only ones that you are able to read. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, there are 4 total. I'm gonna read all of them and then go on probably a pretty lengthy spoiler rant for the 4 bookshelves here, because it's very, very interesting stuff. We'll start with this one. There's a series of texts here. One titled reads, "The Archetype's Influence." Read. Today the archetype was brought into the lab. While it's still in its prototype stage, we're confident that this will be enough to succeed. Brave volunteers have stepped forward to be put under its influence. Many of the volunteers who interacted with the archetype soon fell to their demise regrettably. However, those who didn't show interesting side effects, the archetype has a weird characteristic that can only be described as possession. While under its influence, subjects had their physical appearance undergo certain changes. Some of the subjects reported that their eyes, hair, and sometimes even skin turned to a certain shade of gold. We tested the removal of the archetype's influence as well. Results were overall positive, but inconsistent. Some had their original physical appearance restored, whereas some kept their alterations. We don't know why the human body reacts this way, but it's something we're determined on figuring out. There's a series of texts here. One titled reads, "Legendary Bond." Read. Human immortality is something we've discussed and even attempted at many times before. Why do creatures known as Pokemon live far longer than humans? It seems, as previously theorized, that Pokemon and humans share a common ancestor. Using the archetype's power, we were able to unleash the hidden potential of certain subjects. We are able to awaken a gene inside of a human that brings forth their primitive instincts and form. The results of this subject have turned into Pokemon themselves, and not regular beings either, beings that have dominance over time, space, and antimatter. No further testing has been done at this time. There's a series of texts here. One titled reads, "The Core Project Interceptor." Read. Long have humanity fought the tides of destiny itself. Some don't believe in its existence, but everything happens for a reason. Is this the case? Sorry, is this the act of God? Perhaps the act of the universe itself. The world is similar to that of. I cannot read today. The world is similar to that of programming, its command to follow a set of commands and instructions. But what if we were able to intercept these commands, rewrite what was already written? What if someone not from this world would appear? What set of instructions would the system give to deal with such a predicament? Is it capable of dealing with such an extraneous variable? That is why we've created the core, a series of pillars and conduits that rest beneath the Earth's surface. When the core senses a presence outside this world, the pillar will unearth themselves. This will. The rest of the text appears to be missing. And then this is the final ones here. There is a series of texts here. One titled reads, "The Interceptor's Limits." Read, although the Interceptor acts as an exception to the core's design, it is not omnipotent. They can only travel through the universe where the core exists. If the Interceptor were to stray too far from the planet, they would lose consciousness. Therefore, they are not fit to undergo the project based at Esquilia Pyramid. If the Interceptor were to perish, the core would take damage. In the event that the core is too heavily damaged, the Interceptor shall cease to exist. Please note that any Interceptor subjects, you do not live outside the realm of mortality. Fail too many times, and that will be the end. So, as you could probably see and hear, this room is pretty cool. There are a lot of really cool books and a lot of cool like dialogues and whatnot, whatever you want to call or word it. It's just cool to read. It really, really is. So before we get on our spoiler within the archive here, I just want to give a fair warning. I will try not to be super lengthy. No promises, because there's definitely a lot that I want to get into with this one, so yeah. If you don't want to listen, that's fine. Comment section below, timestamp there. Heavy spoilers ahead if you don't want to listen for whatever the reason may be. So yeah. Okay, so let's start off with this bookshelf first. Not the Interceptor, the Archetype's Influence. I just want to reread it again. Today, the Archetype was brought into the lab. While it's still in its prototype stage, we're confident that this will be enough to succeed. So, if I had to take a guess, I think this is going into Old Earth. Arceus lost. Things have started to change, things are happening, not in a good way. The Garufans, Varia, Adrest, and all the others, they got a hold of the Archetype. They're bringing it into Garufan HQ. They're going to study it, learn it, and see what to do with it so that they can reverse the damages that they've caused. Brave volunteers have stepped forward to be put under its influence, so they done tests and are like, okay, let's go at it in this direction. Clearly, there is some sort of possession kind of thing that happens with it, that things start to happen weirdly when people interact with it and whatnot, so we'll need volunteers. Many, for the sake of protecting the planet, were okay with it. They weren't forced, for the most part from what I could tell, but many of them were like, I'm willing to do it. Many of the volunteers who interacted with the Archetype soon fell to their demise, regrettably, so some of them couldn't handle the power. And again, you're talking about something that came from God itself, so of course many would not be able to handle its power. However, those who didn't showed interesting side effects. The Archetype has a weird characteristic that can only be described as possession. While under its influence, subjects had their physical appearance undergo certain changes. Some of the subjects reported that their eyes, hair, and sometimes even skin turned to a certain shade of gold. Go to Arena, Alice, Alan, Leah, even Anitha. She used to have black hair, now it's gold. it fits with that. Go back to, the archetype's possession, and weird things happen. Arena, out of nowhere, was like, I remember you, Vitus, and went after him. She got possessed for that moment. Indred, Vitus, Tomato didn't really like it. Send her to the unknown dimension. Go back to the battle of Marionette and Indred. I remember everything. The gold aura came around her. She went after him. I think those are some of the effects that it can cause. And we don't know why exactly it happens, but under the right circumstances and situations, it can trigger the possession to take place. Arcee is coming back for a moment, potentially. We've tested the removal of the archetype's influence as well. Results were overall positive but inconsistent. So go back to the third layer. You see the machine. Nim thought about it for a moment to drain the archetype from Malia, but she didn't. So I think that's kind of like what's going on with that sentence there. You finally see that actually there within the third layer. If things go wrong, something happens, it's like they're able to reverse it. Sometimes it'll work out pretty alright. There's mostly positive results. Maybe not. You just don't really know. Some had their original physical appearance restored, whereas some kept the alteration. So again, some just went back to being normally fine. Some kept the gold hair. Maybe something changed with them. Their skin color is now more gold more than anything. Things kind of happen and they just couldn't really change, but for the most part, they seem to be okay under going through that process of taking it away. We don't know why the human body reacts this way, but it's something we're determined on figuring out. So again, overall with that one, they still don't fully understand it. They're learning it, they're experimenting with it, but they still can't fully grasp it. And that's a fair thing. While the Garufans are smart, you're talking about, again, the archetype, something that came from God itself, from Arceus. How can you understand something that is godlike? On to the next bookshelf. Legendary Bond. Read. Human immortality is something we've discussed and even attempted at many times before. Why do creatures known as Pokemon live far longer lives than humans? It seems, as previously theorized, that Pokemon and humans have shared a common ancestor. So again, remember, Arceus created humans, then he created Pokemon. Of course, it's going to be somewhat similar in that case. Also, the idea of immortality, you can honestly say that they actually solved it. The Jewel of Life. Go back to Viraya at the pyramid itself with Adrest saying, hey, as long as nothing happens within the pyramid here, we could technically live forever, as long as we stay within the water's reach. But then she goes on to say, but sometimes it's just time to pack it up and just say you're done. So yeah, technically in that kind of sense, it kind of was created. I don't know if you can stay immortal, but I believe she pretty much said as long as you're within this area, you can be immortal. Using the archetype's power, we were able to unleash the hidden potential of certain subjects. Now again, go back to the scene where Malia had to activate the archetype's power, where that, Gallon gun, thing sort of shooting at her and Nim. I assume those are some of the sentences. Those are some of the, what's the word? Like the trials and whatnot that they pretty much had to endure, testing it out pretty much on the subjects. We were able to awaken a gene inside of a human that brings forth their primitive instincts and form. The result of this subject have turned into Pokemon themselves, and not regular beings either, beings that have dominance over time, space, and antimatter. No further testing has been done at this time. So, again, they're working on it, they're testing it. They found that some develop these interesting powers: time, space, antimatter. Cresselia, Spacia, Tempa, Dialga, Palkia, Giratina. It's starting to click. You know, they're stirring the pot more and more. It's starting to smell more and more and more good. You know, they're adding the ingredients, the salt, the pepper, the whatever ingredients you want to throw into the soup. You know what I mean? Like, they're starting to like solve it. They're getting somewhere with it. And I assume that might be where, you know, Varai was like, okay, archetypes power, some develop these godlike powers. It's not a Arceus replacement, but we're getting somewhere. Something for time, something for space, something for antimatter, but then they go more and more into it. What about life? What about death? Truth, ideals, ground, water, sky. Different legendaries are starting to be made. It's a really cool thing to kind of just piece together. There's a series of texts here. One title reads, The Core, Project Interceptor. Read, long have humanity fought the ties of destiny itself. Some don't believe in its existence, but everything happens for a reason. Is this the act of God? Perhaps the act of the universe itself? The world is similar to that of programming. It's commanded to follow a set of commands and instructions. So again, they look around and they're like, okay, we believe before this whole project, right? We believe that Earth itself has already had its plan made. We want to recreate that in our own way with our technology, is what I'm gathering from that. They're going with that idea, they're hypothesizing that, and they're trying to make it a reality within, you know, the core, the system. But what if we were able to intercept these commands? Rewrite, sorry, I think I did that twice. What was already written? What if someone not from this world would appear? What set of instructions would the system give to deal with such a predicament? So again, they're going after the system, they're making the core, they're doing this and that, but then they have an idea. Intercept it. What if we can have somebody come on in here and do some wacky stuff? They're not bounded by this programming. They're not bounded by, again, Varai's story. Now at this point, Varai has ulterior motives for rejuvenation. But for the most part, in the scientist's mind, they're like, okay, we're going to restore Earth, we're going to do this, we're going to create a programming, that everything is well and safe and yada yada yada. Varai's like, yeah, cool. Let me just go to my room real quick. No, you don't need to look. It's you guys are doing good. I gotta write a story here. And she's doing her own thing in La La Land with rejuvenation and whatnot at that time. I could have worded that better, but I think you get the point. You do know, again, within, you know, the story with Adris getting up and deleted pretty much, that he found out that Varaya did not, in fact, die. She says she did, but she didn't. So you know she lied about that, and there are ulterior motives. Whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, I'm just saying she had ulterior motives that she did not talk to with Adrest and the others that were working on the project. Is it capable of dealing with such an extraneous variable? That is why we've created the core, a series of pillars and conduits that rest beneath the Earth's surface. When the core senses a presence outside this world, the pillars will unearth. So again, the signal. Go back to what Amanda said. When they appeared on the SS Oceania, that's when our plans came to fruition. That's when it all started. Go to the different areas. Dark Lakewood Forest, Sashilla, the Obelisk started to emerge. If you look around, there's different pillars, there's these different areas. It's starting to slowly unearth itself. So it's kind of happening. When the core senses a presence outside this world, the pillars will unearth themselves. This will, and then it stops there. Now, I don't know if it's going to go into the whole thing about the Obelisk, how we're able to enter it, talk to, you know, Nancy, talk to Adrest, get insight with the Obelisk and the core and yada yada yada. Is it a whole nother thing? I don't know. But it's something that's really interesting that the rest of the text is now gone from that. I don't know, it's such a cool thing. I just want to reread it again. Long have humanity fought the ties of destiny itself. Some don't believe in its existence, but everything happens for a reason. Is this the act of God? Perhaps the act of the universe itself? The world is similar to that of programming. It's command to follow a set of commands and instructions. But if we were able to intercept these commands, I can't speak today. Rewrite what was already written. What if someone not from this world would appear? What set of instructions would the system give to deal with such a predicament? So, even going into that, you know, clearly, like Varaya with her and her creation with, you know, the protag, us, or any of the other ones, you know, Avis, Avia, Ario, Alan, Ariana, and Anna. She's intrigued by them, she's wanting that to be her interceptor, and she does her thing and makes it happen. Same thing with Crescent. Is it capable of dealing with such an extraneous variable? That's why we've created the core, a series of pillars and conduits that rest beneath the Earth's surface. When the core senses a presence outside this world, the pillars will unearth themselves. This will... So yeah, it's definitely like a really interesting text. One final one, and definitely in my opinion, probably my favorite one here. There's a series of texts here. One title reads, Interceptor's Limits. Read, although the Interceptor acts as an exception to the core's design, it is not omnipotent. So again, we're not immortal, we're not unstoppable. You learn that within V13.5. Go back to when, you know, not Cassandra, wrong woman. Crescent pulls up with the axe thing, is like, I thought you were like my Alon, my lover, the one that I cared and cherished. You're just some fae controlling his body, or her body, whoever you're playing as. You're gonna pay for that. And then goes straight into battle with you. She pulls up, she's not happy at all. Right? But going through all of that, you learn more and more about the Interceptor. You learn that she is one as well. You learn that, you know, through her, she took some of her, you know, life points is what I'm going to call and word it, to save you. Go back to when technically you died within Valor Mountain. You got pushed into lava. Crescent saved you. Go back to the whole scene within the Doom timeline. You died to Yveltal. You have a certain amount of lives, but if you die too many times, that's it. You've done too much damage. So it's going into the idea of, you might think you're invincible because you lived the Yveltal Blast, you lived through lava. Yeah, you didn't know all of that, you didn't understand it, but if you had the idea that you were omnipotent and invincible, sorry, you're not. Really cool thing to think about. It is not omnipotent. They can only travel through the universe where the core exists. So again, different timelines as we go through, you know, the Doom timeline and this and that, the core is still there. But if, like, again, like you leave the planet and whatnot, as it says right there, that's when things go from bad to worse. You lose signal, is my best guess. If the Interceptor were to stray too far from the planet, they would lose consciousness. Therefore, they are not fit to undergo the project based at Esquilia Pyramid. Or Skyla Pyramid, however you pronounce it. So, again, go back to what Madam X was saying to Hugh. What was that line again to little old Hugh? It's a ship. And I bet if you messed around with the panels and whatnot, this thing will fly off to space and leave this wretched planet. If something happened while we were on that pyramid and we flew into space, that would be a bad thing. To be fair, how do you revert that? Time Diamond. Madam X has it. So even in the event that something really stupid like that happened, keep in mind that she can revert it. And she has done it. She's kept the Interceptor safe. Now at the beginning, where there was a whole bomb thing that blew up, she reverted it, and she brought up, I don't understand you. Why are you so important to all of this? You keep making so many mistakes, so many errors, and it's pissing me off, is probably what she's thinking in her mind. but you're too important to die. You have to live. Why that is, I don't know. And you want to know why? Go back to the core. If the interceptor dies out, is damaged too much, the core, the system, the thing that's probably sustaining all of this, I would safely assume goes with it. So we can't really die. We can. If we do, then bad things kind of happen. But that's why she has to revert it with the time diamond. So that's why in her sense, she's like, why are you so important? But then she finds out within the Doom timeline, she figures out the mystery. You're the interceptor. I get it now. This is why you have to stay alive. Back then, I didn't get it. I didn't understand it, but now I get it. You die, the core gets damaged, bad things kind of happen from there, because the core, the pillars and all that kind of stuff, that's probably, again, connected to the core of the system, whatever, is probably what's sustaining all of this, if I had to take a guess at it. So, without the interceptor, the core would be damaged, bad things happen. It can't be like that. Because again, like, if Madam X wants to win, if Melee and the crew want to win, we need to be in the picture. If the interceptor were to perish, the core would take damage. In the event that the core is too heavily damaged, the interceptor shall cease to exist. Please note to any interceptor subjects, you do not live outside of the realm of mortality. Fail too many times, and that will be the end. So again, going off of the lava scene, go back to the Yveltal blowing us up when Melanie was like flying on top of it. Too many times, it's game over. Now, again, I can't fully confirm if the core has something to do with like the system and sustaining everything, or if it's its own separate thing. I would go off of the idea that it's probably the main thing, or one of the main things that's sustaining all of this here. But if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But it's just something that's really intriguing and, again, interesting to think about. Just how important the interceptor is. You're not omnipotent, you're not invincible, but if you die, it's not good. It's just something that's really interesting. And again, go back to the one line. There's something that I want to go into real quick as well. Please note that any interceptor subjects, plural, subjects. Back then, I got confused with the whole V, side quest event thing with the missing children, where she announced I was an interceptor from yada yada timeline, whatever she said. Or he, she, I don't know, honestly. I think actually he. I don't really know, honestly. He or she, whatever. That's not too important. V was an interceptor, if I'm not mistaken. I've played with the idea, what if Madam X is an interceptor? Look at her suit. Look at our suit when we have full power. It's not exactly the same, but it's kind of identical, kinda not. Do I think Madam X is an interceptor? I'm more so on the side, probably not. But I don't think it's impossible either. Just because of like her knowing certain things, similar to like the interceptor knowing some things that others don't really know about. Like, there's signs that I can see it being possible, but I can also just see it as a woman that's been through a lot, seen a lot, and things are happening and things have happened to her. She has to stay within the suit. It's a life support in my mind. And yeah, I don't know. But it's an interesting thing how it says plural, and it goes into the idea, and again, like it says it right there, you never really would have suspected Crescent has an interceptor. But to be fair, again, like, look at the story. The signs were there. She intercepted Fate, right? Go back to Valor Mountain. She intercepted that whole scene where you technically died, right? That's such a cool thing that it's right in front of you, but you didn't really think about it. Such a cool thing, man, to kind of like think about. And again, just to wrap this up here, I have to give total credit to Jane, man, and Zumi and all the developers, man. They have truly created this long, elaborate puzzle of a game. And if you look at the seams, you look at the cracks and whatnot, you look at the pieces that they give you, you can connect the dots on a lot of different things. It's not fully developed, it's not fully baked yet, but we're almost there. And to me, that's just really cool. It is truly remarkable. It's amazing. The storytelling, the characters, the atmosphere, the battling, the emotion, the good, the bad, the sad, the happy, the lore, the mystery, whatever you want to call and word it. There's just so many emotions that all the developers have done within the story. Whether it's a large amount or a small amount, they all put pieces together on this elaborate puzzle board and made something special and made something amazing. It is truly incredible what Jane and all of them have created here. I think that'll be it for the spoiler rant there, and I think that'll be it for today's episode. There's more that I can get into and talk about, but we'll leave it at that. It's just something that's insanely amazing and cool. And again, total credit to all the developers. They have done such a remarkable job with this story. And I go back to what I said many times. Thank you. I know probably none would ever see this, but truly just thank you. This game means so much to so many people, whether they played it one time or multiple times, or maybe it's just starting it now. There are so many, loving and supporting people that really do care for all the work that you all have done, and it's remarkable what you all have created. It's amazing. I go back to another thing. I cannot think of a fan-made game that goes above and beyond what you guys have done. It's truly amazing with everything the story has to offer, just everything about it. I love you guys. Take care of yourselves out there. And I'll see you guys once we get back into the next chapter, which will be next episode. Love you guys. Take care. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Good morning.